This week we are on our 70th meeting. So I have an issue with history. I like to record things, so I just think it's interesting to do that. I'll go ahead and turn my camera off. So these are the minutes from last week. Last week we had both the community call and the behavioral model work group. So I combined both of the notes into the same email, just for brevity's sake. And so, we I think we came to a conclusion around the ACL tags, matching bitmap, prefix list expansion, blah, blah. And then in the behavioral model work group, Vijay presented a huge PR around metering. And so he also asked for some reviewers to be assigned. So we did. And so that's sitting out here. I hope you all got this communication. And then here were just the notes from last week. And the behavioral model work group, I just threw the notes down here and I tried to add a snip of what was changing and just a couple of snips of the different pieces of the PR here that were changing. But for the whole thing, and then the lines here, but for the whole thing, you could click on PR 365 and take a peek at it. So, and then Vincent had a pretty good comment last week about be careful of this compile flag here. And so that's what we did last week. So hope everyone got that. And then this week, what I saw was there were a couple of changes here. Sasha pushed this one here. And can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah, so it's a very simple update to the examples of the VNet is not required when the action type is direct in the route table. So having VNet there is a little bit confusing and may lead to errors in the SWSS, so it's better to remove it.
Did everyone else see this one come through if you're following the repo? Yeah.
This is the metering PR?
This is the Sonic.
Oh, understood. Sorry.
I think that we can ask Prince to review and approve this.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll do that. Do that. And then Prince also had an update here. I don't know if he's on the call. Not quite yet. Okay. So what did he do? Oh, yeah, he just added this one line here. Zero return value should be treated as no tag support. So, and I said thank you. So these are the two I noticed from the week.
What are the in HL, please? Is there a change in the direct route?
What was the question, Rashmi?
Just if we can mention what is the change that has been made in the HLD document? Change in the direct route?
In this update here or in general?
In this update here. Oh, sorry, the previous one, Alexandra.
Oh, the previous one. Okay. Alexander.
This is update of the example section. So according to the definition of the action direct, the VNet is not required and it should not be specified in the configuration.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so here, this VNet here is what you took out. Yeah. Okay. And then so other PRs, did you guys have other PRs?
The second one, update to scale numbers. It's based on Gerald request. So
Okay.
background for 200 gig, it was 1 million TCP, 1 million UDP. Now out of total 32 million, background will be 15 plus 15, and 2 million will be left for the CPS measurement. CPS measurement shouldn't need 2 million active. Usually it's 200-300, couple of 100,000, but leave some room. The other one is packet size for background traffic to be from 1,500 to 500. This will increase the number of packets sender by 3 times. And the other is the flow capacity. I think it was 64 million and so on, keep doubling. And at all stages, flow capacity got reduced by half the requirement. I think those are the changes suggested for the hero test.
Yeah. Okay.
32 million sounds good. When I see the first line, TCP flows 15 million. Does that mean we can use TCP also at this moment with the hero tests?
So
or is it just the scale numbers?
hero
Okay.
tests that is contributed in VNet to VNet has TCP and UDP, but not with Ixia C. It uses CloudStorm and Novus. So yeah, hero test always had TCP and UDP. I
Okay.
think your questions in the past always refer to the Ixia C's test cases that can be run in the CI. But for the actual hero test that uses hardware, that always had TCP and UDP.
Got it. This is very good clarification. Thanks.
And even though I know Gerald doesn't get on here very often, just to notify him, I'm going to add that. And I'll bring it up to him later. I'll take care of that today when I talk to him. Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.
Did anyone else want to cover these in line here?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have
Go for it.
two items. Hi.
Mm-hmm.
One is it's more of an issue. I'll share my screen.
Okay, I'll stop.
Save you the
The
bother.
navigation. Okay.
Yeah. So this one, Zegon reported a few weeks ago about the Ixia controller supports some older TLS options, which are now considered security risks. So I'm working right now on a pull request that will remedy this. It was just a matter of disabling TLS 1.0 and 1.1 in some standard Golang HTTP server libraries. So it wasn't that we coded in TLS 1.0 and 1.1 deliberately. They were just there by default and no one ever complained. So we remedied that. There's a new release of Snappy and that goes along with Ixia C and traffic engine and controller. So I'm working on a pull request to remedy this. I just wanted to put it out there that will eventually get in the repo, maybe the next few days. I'll have it ready. That's one thing. And thank you for finding this, something we probably should have put in our own teching, which we will do now. And then Vincent asked me to speak up on behalf of this PR here, update saithrift-bld Dockerfile. And that's this one here. I asked him to expand on the description a little bit so that people understand the motivation. But what he told me was he'd upgraded. He wants to use Ubuntu 22.04 because it comes with some better compiler optimizations in the GCC compiler for their backend. And when he compiled his own libsci and then tried to link it to the standard saithrift server, which is built from the Sci repo, and in the current dash make files and Docker files, we use Ubuntu 20.04. You can't just link code compiled in 2004 with one version of CLib. with 2204, you'll get linker mismatches. So long story short, he wants to use a different Ubuntu for his builds, and he's created some changes that allow you to pass in different versions of the Ubuntu Docker image. And that's what this is about. I've asked him to expand the description a little bit, but he's got some makefile changes, and in the Docker file, instead of having a hard-coded Ubuntu 2004 tag, which is here, he's allowed to pass in an argument so that you can select which Ubuntu for your own build environment. And this actually makes me think that at some point we'll probably need to improve some of this build environment in general to handle Debian builds as they're done in Sonic management. So this might be kind of a preview of some other changes we'll need to make downstream. I just wanted to alert people to this pull request, and if they would like to weigh in on it and review. Vincent also stumbled on another shortcoming, which has been in for maybe a year. The build environment was modified at one time to generate the SHA-256 of the Docker files to detect if there's a change and to rebuild as necessary. There's one shortcoming in that technique, in that the Docker file might be pulling in some content that itself changed, like some other package, and that SHA detection technique fails to catch changes in its dependencies. And several developers have stumbled over this problem, and the way we've handled it is by, for example, changing some static comment in this file, in the Docker file, so that the SHA will change. It's a little bit of an artificial, clumsy approach. And Vincent has put in some changes to try to handle that too. So if people want to take a look at this or weigh in, probably take a little bit of thinking to find the perfect way to do it. But I think it's pretty close. Kind of low-level, annoying details about building Docker files, etc. So I just wanted to point that out. If people want to look at it, they're invited to help review.
Awesome.
That's all I'm saying. That I know, Andre, you've stumbled into some of these Docker dependencies as well.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for pointing this out.
Yeah, and I'm also
so I will
working,
review as well.
Okay, and also I'm working on trying to find the comment here. I'm working on this Ixia change. I also came up with a better way of detecting the dependencies for having the right Docker images on. And I've actually looked for them in the Docker images output to see if the image is there, and build it one time on demand. That may come up in this PR because I gave some feedback to Vincent. I'll also put it in the Ixia one, which I'll have you ask for people to review, like Andre. So that's it. Not exciting stuff. This is sausage making details.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Helpful. So those were your last two?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Prince, I threw something in the chat window for you since you joined. And did anyone else have a PR they wanted to cover?
I have a question, not a PR.
Okay.
Is this a good time or?
Yeah. Yep.
So when the SmartSwitch is gonna arrive, how will there be static routes in the underlay of the DPU ASIC in the SmartSwitch that will direct the traffic to different ports of the ASIC, or how will that happen? Or the traffic is going to be reflected always back on the same ports that it came? How will the switch ASIC communicate with the DPU ASIC or ASICs? And how will be the internal routing done? Some hard-coded static routes or just reflect back? Anyone knows?
Prince, I have my guess, but Prince, what do you think?
Hey,
Sonagra-
yeah.
sir, go ahead.
So, sorry, what was the question?
Go
Oh,
ahead,
okay, okay,
Naga.
okay. I can read that. Okay, how will? Oh, so that basically we can have different methods, right? So one thing could be like we can match on on an ACL, and then basically, so of course we have the destination VIP or the destination IP address, right? So with that, we can determine that it is destined to a DPU, and to identify which ENI and those things we can match with an ACL for the source or the destination MAC in the packet. So does that make sense? Or
I think he was asking, are we using static
No.
routes or BGP, or are you asking about the routing protocol?
About the DPU ASIC. So the DPU
Mhm.
ASIC will have multiple, let's say, physical ports or connections. How will
yes,
it know on which connection to send it to the switch ASIC? Will it have some hard-coded static routes, or it will just reflect the packet back on the same port, internal
correct.
port
So
that it
from the
came through?
DPU, from the DPU, it can just hairpin back the traffic to the on the same port. That's at least the thought right now. But from the switch to the DPU, like I mentioned, it can be based on a route plus ACL action.
Okay, and is this user configurable, or this is just internal and the user has no visibility on
Yeah,
how the
user
switch
doesn't
ASIC
have to.
communicates? Okay.
That's right. So user doesn't have to be aware of this when the ENI configuration happens on a switch at a high level. The switch will determine which DPU to program, and then program the switch ASIC to have such rules to forward that ENI traffic to that DPU. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but this again, like
Is there
this is
any HLD or any
no
diagram document that describes the internal workings of SmartSwitch?
that's what. So these are all currently in proposal. So I think we will be publishing a document soon, like
Yeah,
what we
not
have
yet.
in the not yet.
Believe me, Marcha, I've been working on it.
Hey, Prince, this is Ashutosh. Just to elaborate on your answer, right? So when you say we can do hair pinning, right? Does that mean that DPU does not need to do any underlay routing, essentially? I mean, just to confirm that.
Right. So DPU doesn't have to do an underlay routing if it uses hairpinning. So if you look at the underlay routing mechanism that we captured in the saithrift-bld, these are the two options. One, DPU can look at the underlay route, which is pretty much one single route of default gateway, or it can utilize the hairpinning model, because we don't expect a DPU to do any kind of ECMP hashing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
pretty down in the document.
yeah, it was there. I saw it. It's just that there was still some confusion internally within our team. So I think it's good that you're clarifying it and it's in the notes. So thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm flipping between a million windows. So, okay.
I think it's this one, this underlay.
3.3.5. Okay. That is helpful.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, guys?
I think, Krishna, can we mention like optional ECMP hashing, like instead of no ECMP hashing?
That would be better. Yeah.
If I could spell, yes.
No, but
Yeah.
if you do ECMP hashing, right, that means will you program routes, or is it like a default route still? Is it based on
It will be
default
just
route?
the default route, yeah.
Okay, so it's optional. ECMP hashing based on default route is optional. Okay.
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 Cool. Awesome. Any other questions right now? Okay. So I notice we have somebody new on the call, Amit. Maybe we could introduce you and ask where you're from. I haven't seen you before.
Oh yeah. So
Hi.
hi. So myself Amit. I'm a new intern joined recently in May 15th, on May 15th.
Okay.
Uh,
From Microsoft or from a different company?
no, I'm a student actually. So
Okay.
No, at
master
Keysight,
student
Keysight,
at Keysight.
at Keysight.
Okay. Wonderful. Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please feel free to jump in. It's a friendly group if you have questions or anything.
Sure.
So,
We'll
okay.
jump in.
Okay. Nice to meet you. And so, guys, I wanted to talk about, if we're done with the technical parts, Memorial Day. I was curious if you all plan to be in next week for Memorial Day. We usually have a couple of dash meetings per week, or if maybe y'all had planned to be out, or should I send a survey?
Business as usual for
Very
me.
quiet, business as usual. Okay, I was thinking about being
Yeah,
out.
definitely.
What's that?
Same for me.
Usually,
I'll
yeah.
be working as well.
You'll be working too? Okay. So if you guys are
Same
working,
here.
then if you guys are working, then I'm working. So, okay. Okay. So most people.
You can
Okay.
always take a vacation and hand the baton to someone else. Everyone deserves a break.
Yep. I guess I could. I could coordinate that. So, okay. And that's really all the content I had for today, unless you guys have something else. Okay. Then I can actually give time back if you like. So I'm going to give the countdown. 7 seconds, Andy.
Yesterday, I was in a meeting where I said 7 seconds. I was counting my head, and on second 6, somebody said something. It works.
Like you just did now. Good one,
Okay.
Andy.
Yep. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.